Hi everybody. Today we're going to do a lovely sequence to help open up your feet. So the feet are the foundation of our body and they help stabilize us throughout our day. And we don't spend much time taking care of them. So today I'm going to give you some fun little things to do to take care of them. So you'll need a blanket, a towel will also work. And later on, we're going to do a video using a bolster. So if you can get yourself a bolster, and again, if you don't have a bolster, you could use a pillow about this size. So we'll get to that later on in the sequence. For now, we're going to just start by coming into a comfortable seat and taking a gentle scan of your body. From the crown of the head to the tips of the toes. Noticing and observing without judgment, without expectation. I am a curious observer in this practice today. Begin to notice your breath and allow yourself to fall into pure breath. 1 to 1, same count of inhale as the exhale, no pausing, gasping, or jerking between the breath. And we're going to take this breath with us as we practice. So I often say that the breath is the driving force of your movement. So notice how many times in the practice you work and then think about breathing. So the breath will be your first thought. Okay, so we're going to come off of our virasana, our hero pose, or maybe you sat in a cross-legged position. So we're going to come off of that and transition to getting our feet opened up. So there's no like magic way of doing this. I like to put a block or a blanket or something under the leg I'm not working. We're going to start with the right leg. We're going to cross that leg into like a figure 4, but be comfortable. So you could put a bolster under your butt. And you're going to slide your fingers in between your toes. If you've never done this work before, it might be a little cringy. So make sure you're breathing. And once you get your fingers down into your toes, you're just going to hold them. And then you're going to pull the foot in towards center and then away. And we're going to do that 5 times. So you're gently guiding the foot in and out through that ankle line. 5 times, breathing as you do. Good. And then we're going to do little circles. So we're going to do circles around a clock for the ankle circles, 5 in one direction, holding on to my foot, trying not to create any tension where I don't need it. Make sure that ankle bone is not right on top of that left thigh or else it's a little uncomfortable. And now I'm switching direction for 5 more. Keep space between the jaw and breathe. And now the fun part. So you're going to squeeze your fingers with your toes or flexing your toes. And now you're going to spread the toes apart or try to pull them away from the fingers, keeping them there. And you're going to do that 4 more times. So a total of 5 for everything. Breathing as you do and noticing where the tightness lives. How hard it is to do this or easy. Good. Now you're going to gently pull the fingers out of the toes and we're going to take our thumbs. We're going to come to the base of the toe mound, so right back here. And we're going to be pulling the foot apart horizontally. And you're going to move down the foot through the arch. So if you have plantar fasciitis, be very gentle when you do this. Coming all the way down to the heel. And then from the heel back up to the toes. Okay? So just really trying to focus on how that foot feels and if there's any tension. Then I want you to pull your big toe away from your pinky toe. Just create a little bit of space in that foot bed. And then release that, and then you're going to slap your feet. Down to the heel, back up to the toes. Beautiful. Then you're going to take the legs out long, And you're gonna do a little reset. So I like to bicycle pedal. I like to windshield wipe. Then the other windshield wiping, bringing the toes together and apart. Then we're gonna point through the feet and flex. Getting a little range of motion in those ankles. And then we're gonna take circles in both directions. And that little reset sequence, you can do 3 of everything, okay? And then we're gonna set up for the other leg. So I'm gonna just support that bottom leg. I'm gonna take the opposite left leg and I'm gonna thread my fingers in between my toes as I'm breathing. And try not to judge your toes too much. It might be time for a pedicure, but that's okay. So as you hold your toes with your fingers, we're gonna take the foot in and out for 5, pulling it in and taking it away. Range of motion through that ankle as I'm holding the foot. I'm trying to stay relaxed through the bottom leg and I'm breathing. Shoulders are staying away from my ears. After I finish 5, I'm taking my ankle in circles, 5 in one direction. Noticing what that range of motion feels like, and then 5 in the other direction. So I'm thinking about going around a clock. No tension in the jaw, neck, or shoulders. Good, then I pause, keep a neutral ankle. Now I'm using my toes, so I'm gonna flex my toes or squeeze my fingers with my toes. And now I'm extending or pulling my toes away from my fingers, but keep the fingers in there. And then do that 4 more times. Now you might be feeling a little different sensation on this foot in comparison to the other foot. Just notice those things. They're all part of the puzzle that our body is. A big giant 10,000 piece puzzle. Good, so after you finish that, you're going to slide the fingers out. Then we're going to take the thumbs to the base of the toe mounds and we're going to pull the foot apart. So we do that all the way down from the toe bed, down through the arch of the foot to the heel. And then once you get to the heel, you work your way back up to the toes. And then once you get back up to the toes, pull the pinky toe and the big toe apart from one another there shouldn't be any pain in any of this. And then slap your foot from the toes to the heel, back up to the toes, back down to the heel, about 5 times. Getting that sensation in the foot. Good, then we're gonna extend the legs out and we're gonna do that little reset. So the pumping, the windshield wipers, both directions, pointing and flexing through the ankles, and then ankle circles in both directions. Okay, wonderful. So we're going to be transitioning here in a moment. We're going to take our blanket while we're down here and just give it a fold. So again, this could be a towel as well. If you have a blanket like mine, you're going to open it up to this fold and then take the long open end and roll it. Now, if you have plantar fasciitis, do not roll too high. So the higher the roll, the more intense this next part is. So we're just going to give it a roll, and you could be this low or this high. You're going to put it up at the top of your mat. Okay. And then you're going to have, you could have your blocks there. 1 block will work. You could use 2 blocks. It's just really up to you. And then we're going to transition to tabletop for a moment. So neutral tabletop position. Just kind of feel that little beach ball squeeze. Now push your weight back and stand up on your knees. Okay, so I like to march a little bit on my knees, pick my knees up one at a time. So we're going to be making our way up to mountain pose or Tadasana. So we're going to start with our left foot leading. So the left foot is going to step up, and then I want you to feel the bottom of your left glute, like you have a magnet pulling it down toward the floor, stabilizing this left leg. And you'll notice my knee is directly over the foot. A lot of times people will roll the foot in, that's a no-no, or bring the knee forward. So we don't want to do that either. So I imagine my hips hugging to midline here. And you might want to bring your hands to heart center. You can bring them to the hips or you can bring them to the thigh, but somewhere. Then we're going to turn those back toes under. We're uprighting through the spine. The gaze or the drishti is on something off the tip of the nose that doesn't wobble, okay? So with the breath, when you inhale, you're going to pick your right knee up and step it up to meet that front foot. And then the arms can come down. So we're going to pick up all 10 toes. Our feet are parallel. We're picking up the 10 toes, spreading them wide, feeling the crown of the head sitting over the pelvic floor. Feel the space between your toes. And then let the toes come down and notice how the arches are floating a little bit more. So you'll notice I close my eyes a lot, and that's to help me bring my awareness inward. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll look down at the blanket. And we're going to step on the blanket with our toes and the toe mounds. Your heels will always be on the floor and we're hip distance apart. Okay, so the first thing we're going to notice is the difference between your right and left calf. This could be in the Achilles, the back of the heel. Just observe where you're feeling this. And we're making sure we're not locking back through the knees. That's a no-no. So the knees are soft and the weight is distributed over the big toe mound, inner heel, pinky toe mound, outer heel. So just notice how this feels. Now, if you want to get higher into the back line of the legs, all we're going to do is take the hands to the hips. And then we're going to soften the knees a little bit more, but make sure you're not pushing your hips forward to do that. The hips go back, stay connected through the inner edges of the feet. As you hinge forward, we're leading with the manubrium instead of the chin. And then we can come down to the blocks. You could place the blocks under your hands. Shoulders are nowhere near the ears. And we're going to think about our sit bones or the base of your butt lifting up toward the sky just an inch or so. Notice any tendency to lock through the jaw here if you're doing too much. Continue to breathe. Now, we're going to push our chest away. You can tense your fingers on the blocks, or you can even bring your hands to your thighs. You're going to drop your butt down and lift your torso up first. Then begin to stand. Step off with the right foot and then the left foot. Find parallel. Maybe close your eyes. You can bounce through your knees a little bit to unstick anything. Lift 10 toes, spread them wide. Notice how this feels. Take a breath or two here. Feel yourself return back to the pure breath in your mountain pose. Let the toes come down. Good. So now we need to just puff up the blanket a little bit so we can come back up on it. So now we're going to get a little bit more into the arches of the foot. So I'm going to come a little bit higher on the blanket, but if you have tiny feet, you always want to make sure that the heels are down on the ground. That's really important. So again, I'm making sure I'm not locking through my knees. I'm hugging my hips to midline to keep me stable, keeping the head from pitching forward, nice and long here, and lifted. So can I stay anchored through those 4 points of my feet? And feel the arches gently melting into the blanket roll. And again, if you're really tight in your arches, don't overdo these. This is meant to be subtle work. So breathe and notice. So now I want to go from the bottom of my leg more to the upper back of the thigh. And to do that, hands on hips, hands at heart center, whichever feels better for you. So the knees bend as my hips go back. I'm hinging from my hips and my manubrium is leading me forward, not my chin, so that my head can stay in line with my spine. Now when I come down here, I don't have to have the block, so I'm going to show you on this one without. So I'm going to take my hands to my calves and I'm just using them as support. Try not to shift all your weight into your heels. I'm still in those 4 points of my feet. Now I'm going to think about my sit bones. They're at the base of your butt, lifting up ever so slightly and maintain the hips hugging to midline. And now it's in my hamstring line, not my low back. Keep breathing. Now to come out, you drop the butt down, take the stretch out. Stay active through the feet as you push your chest away, long spine. Then I start to stand through my legs. This time I'm going to step off with my left foot and then my right foot. Coming back into Tadasana, lifting 10 toes, spread them wide. Feel how much the arches float. Are you still connected through the inner edges of the feet? Is the head still in line with the spine, or did it pitch forward? We want to keep it in line with the spine. Let the toes come down. As you close your eyes, feel the entire chain from the feet up through the knees that are soft, not locked, through the stable pelvis. The pubis is coming toward the belly button ever so slightly as the hips hug to midline to keep the pelvis stable. And the breath is descending from the diaphragm, space between the jaw. And hopefully your feet feel a little more open and you feel a little more stable in mountain pose, Tadasana. Please let me know how you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Namaste.